Twisted Humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked. Hello and welcome to episode 135 of Twisted and Uncorked podcast. This is a very special episode because we have a special guest with us today. Lindsay, say hello. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Lindsay. I'm a Leo. I like long walks on the beach and I collect rocks.
I love it.
We love all of those things also. Lindsay is from Ye Old Crime podcast, a pal and a podcast pal of ours. So thank you so much. It's been a long time coming. We were on a Can You Guess the Cramp Word and failed miserably.
But it was so fun.
I also participated again, and I'm not sure if that one's out yet, but I also failed miserably. I think I got one right. I got one right.
You did get one right. Give yourself some credit. Yes.
Little pat on the back. Yeah.
You're getting better.
So both of those are lots of fun. Go and check out her episode. She hosts the show with her sister, who I have yet to meet, which I think is so funny because I've known you for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Never met your sister.
I know.
She's the elusive white elephant of the podcast.
She is. It's because I keep her locked up in a closet somewhere when we're not recording. But yeah, she's funnily enough, a lot busier than I am. So she doesn't do a whole lot of interviews with me. So yeah.
Oh, I get it. That's usually Alicia does all the things. I try to get in when I can.
We appreciate you all for it. So you can find Lindsay wherever you listen to podcasts. And anything else you want to tell the peeps? What kind of rocks do you collect? Crystals, I hope.
I do collect some crystals. I know you're not supposed to do it, but whenever I visit a national park, I try to find like a fun rock that I can bring home with me to remind myself.
A dangerous little game.
Yeah,
I know,
very
to
careful.
remind myself of where I went. So
yeah.
Because there was the petrified wood forest that there's like a curse associated with it.
Oh, yeah. Don't do that.
Be extra careful. Google your forests before you take treasures, people.
Exactly.
Yes. Don't bring home the bad juju.
Yeah, right?
Well,
we don't need you to be cursed on top of this.
No.
Well, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. And as you know, we always like to start our episodes with fun facts. So did you bring a fun fact, Lindsay?
I did. So my fun fact is, after the death of the Spanish knight El Cid in 1099, his soldiers strapped his corpse to his horse so he could lead them into battle one last time.
No. I do not want to follow a dead man on a horse into battle.
I feel like that's a bad omen and a half. Like
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, why are you starting your battle with a dead person? That just seems very counterintuitive, but you do you, Spain.
Right? Yep.
I mean,
sure thing.
You, Spain.
Do we know if they won that battle?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I want to know if the horse was okay.
That's
the horse
always concerned about the horse.
Real down with that.
Of course not. He's like, this fucking sucks. I don't stand a chance here, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you know how bad this guy smells? Like, and I'm a horse.
That's true. Animals do have a heightened sense of smell. I apologize in advance, guys, for my voice. I still have the vid / I'm healing from it. So
we're getting somewhere.
Sierra told me on Monday that I had a Phoebe Buffet, sexy smelly cat thing going on here. I think she was just being nice. So
no, you totally do. It's
Thanks,
perfect,
guys.
Yeah.
Alicia, what's your fun fact?
My fun fact is about birds and that their beaks grow constantly, just like human nails, and natural wear and tear keeps their size more or less consistent. And I thought this was interesting because rabbits' teeth never stop growing, and same natural wear and tear. So I just thought that was bizarre.
Same with beavers.
And beavers.
Why they have to chew on wood all the time.
Yeah.
So weird.
I have never considered myself a bird person, but one of my friends recently got a little parakeet, and it's kind of the cutest thing in existence. So I feel like I might be a bird person now.
Yeah.
We'll see. What's your fun fact?
My fun fact is that back when cars were a new invention, the local newspaper would publish the purchases of vehicles.
Oh my God, that's
There was a section of the newspaper called Along Auto Row that told the name and
Aw.
address of whoever purchased a car that week, along with the type of car they purchased.
I feel like we gotta stop putting people's addresses in the newspapers.
Yeah,
I know.
with the address is a little much, but to just be like, congratulations on your purchase, I feel like that's an awesome thing. Like, I want to be congratulated on my purchases.
Right? Especially when it's
Yeah.
a purchase that substantial.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think ye old auto theft probably don't publish addresses.
Well, I was
Yeah.
It's
just
just a bad
thinking
idea.
like theft in general. Like, like
I
you can
think-
afford to buy a car, I'm gonna come to your house and rob you. Like,
Do you think people were nicer back then, or people were just more naive?
I think people just didn't know any better. Like, I'm
Yeah.
curious to know when newspapers in general decided maybe we shouldn't publish people's addresses
like around the
anymore.
height of like the 1970s and 80s and children being kidnapped, maybe like somewhere in there.
Maybe.
There was that video of Ryan Reynolds. He posted an old newspaper article of him as a kid, and it had his childhood address on it. And
Oh
he
my
was
God,
like,
that's so crazy.
he's like, this is why.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think now because when I joined the military, they put me in the newspaper. I don't think my address was on it though. Not that I lived there anymore. I was in the
But
military.
you looked
but
like a little baby, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
But no, I was gonna say, do you remember when we did that episode with Liz and we talked about old newspapers?
Yeah.
And there were these guys who were like giving their opinion on whether or not women should be like spanked or beaten for being bad. And like it was awful, first of all. It was very old. But yeah, these guys were talking about how women should be abused and they posted their addresses too. And I'm like, that's a real good way to get murdered by a
Yep.
woman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
An angry
Yeah.
mob of women is gonna
Yeah.
just show up at your house, dude.
It would have
Wasn't
been the
worth
best
it.
if it was like an old cotillion of like dominatrixes and they all came with like paddles and stuff. And they're just like,
like,
hey,
how do you like getting
Yes.
spanked,
Yeah, right.
buddy?
yeah.
Welcome to the BDSM community. There's no safe word for you.
Oh my gosh. Alicia, are you drinking anything today? I know that this would usually be a
I do have a
sangria.
sangria recipe to feature, and the only reason I didn't make it is because Kevin used all of the fresh rosemary, and he did not know that I needed it, so that's no fault of his. But I got a sparkling rosé, which is a brand that I will grab in a second from last week, and fresh rosemary, muddled mandarin oranges, and pomegranate seeds. So
That
it's
sounds amazing.
very fall, very light, very tasty. I went with the bubbly rosé, one, so I didn't have to add a topper, and two, so I didn't have to add anything else because I'm still sick. So that's me being a little bit lazy, but a little bit festive, and I'm
Lazy-
excited to try it.
Lazy is what we need around the holidays because like we're already doing so many fucking other things
Just throw
elsewhere.
some bubbles
So
and
it
some
works.
fruit together. Everything's
Yeah.
fine. But
Everything's
I
fine.
am drinking Bodacious Red Blend per usual because it's the day before Thanksgiving and I'm the Canadian one, so I'm going to celebrate that way.
There you go.
And I'm sick of drinking tea.
So my topic today is Murderless. I am going to tell you a true crime story where no one gets murdered and actually no one even dies, although there will be dead people. And I will
Ooh.
explain that after a little break to hear a promo of Ye Old Crime Podcast.
I know that one.
Do you love true crime but are looking for something different?
It sounds like a sitcom.
It does.
The Benders.
The kind of assholes you should probably leave them alone.
Do you like learning about cases so off the wall they can't possibly be true?
Her wig is enormous, but it is lifted off her head by a monkey
Do you love history, but want to hear about what they didn't teach you in school? It's just got a
Interesting.
almost where you hang your horns sign.
Do you like laughing awkwardly about cases that are bizarre and a little strange?
They'd be able to wield so many knives with all of their little arms.
Then we have the podcast for you. Join me, Lindsay,
And me, Madison, for Ye Old Crime.
where we discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear.
Listen every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
And we'll see you next time with another tale.
As old as crime.
Okay, so for the spooky month of October over on Patreon, I told Alicia and our buddy Chris about some ghost marriage stories.
Yes, I was wondering
As
when you were
in-
coming back.
As in living humans who marry presumably dead ones. And in doing that research for that story, I found this crime story that I just knew I had to tell you guys.
So excited.
I am excited.
As
I love it
we-
already.
As we well know, this far into our podcasting days, spiritualism was very popular and rampant in the late 1800s and early 1900s. People didn't judge much those days for other people believing in ghosts and mediums to communicate between the living and the dead. But because it was so normalized, many people took advantage of the belief. And that is exactly what happens in this story. John Seybold was a farmer in the Kansas and Oklahoma areas in the late 1800s. He worked tirelessly for many years on his land and saved up what money he could from his efforts. He was married twice in his lifetime and sadly was twice a widower.
Aw.
Suspicious.
By the instantly suspicious. No, it's not
Was he a
that.
pig farmer? Because I have
yeah,
questions.
then we're suspicious.
By the 1920s, he had outlived 2 wives and an adult son. John
Oh.
was in his 70s and was lonely. In 1925, John attended a seance at the home of a practicing medium named Nellie Moore. John was impressed by Nellie's abilities right away because in the very first seance, Nellie had claimed to speak to John's son, and then to John as his son. This is kind of her thing. She speaks as the dead
And
people.
I don't like that,
But
but
yeah,
in
it
their
weirds me out.
voice, in a kind of possessed way, or like
Not
just
in
her
their-
voice?
No, it's her voice with their accents.
Oh, okay.
hmm,
Plot twist. All right.
Yeah.
that's very what is that movie with Nicole Kidman? The Others?
The
Is that what
Others,
it
I
is?
love that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It
very
is
The
very
Others.
the others.
Yeah.
Throwback.
As
Love
a
a good
practicing medium, Nellie had some ground rules. Firstly, the room had to be dark at all times. There could be no lights on through the seance.
Mhm.
Also, there could be no attempt by the living of touching the dead. The spirits may walk around the room and talk or make noises, but if John tried to turn on the lights or touch the spirits, both he and the medium would immediately die,
Oh,
which is
okay.
a little harsh.
Yeah, it was like,
That's
"Oop,"
pretty
she said
extreme.
that's
right?
the
Like
rules.
no, like oopsie in between consequence,
oopsie.
just death.
You
okay.
die.
Okay.
Instant death.
Yeah.
Did you have to sign a waiver? Like,
Did
did they have waivers back then?
John's son, through Nellie, told John that he wanted to be his spirit guide and help him with his decision making through the rest of his life. And just in case John didn't believe that he was supposed to be following the guide of his son, Nellie also spoke with a spirit named Dr. Greer, who was a managing spirit of the spirit world.
Ooh.
I
And-
want that job. New dream job
Right?
unlocked.
I want to be assistant manager to the manager of the spirit world.
Yes, exactly. And Dr. Greer, speaking through Nellie, told John, as a managing spirit, that it would be wise to follow the guidance of his son from the spirit world. So, I mean, that settles it, right? He's
Yeah,
convinced now.
Yep.
Absolutely.
legit.
No resources needed whatsoever.
hmm
So John began to see Nellie pretty regularly, in order to learn from his son the best moves to make in the real world. But pretty regularly didn't seem to be regularly enough in the dead eyes of his guiding spirit. John still lived at his property in the area where Kansas and Oklahoma met, and Nellie lived all the way in Wichita. And after a few seances, John's son informed him that he must move closer to Nellie. Quote, "Father, you must go back home, raise what money you can, and move to Wichita." End quote. This is what his guiding spirit told him through Nellie. And John listened.
Okay.
He went back to his farm and began searching for a banker to lease the property to. People were surprised that he was moving and assumed that he must really need the money to be moving on from his life's work. He was able to raise $3,000 for the property, which is the equivalent of almost $53,000 today. And he moved up to Wichita. He didn't sell it. He just kind of let other people use it for this.
That's an impressive amount of money to just like whip
That
up.
is.
Yeah.
That is a decent, like, I don't know what.
I can barely save $3,000, let alone fucking $53,000.
53, I know.
Well, and I don't know what
I feel like
people,
land is expensive though.
Yeah, like, I don't know what people rent land for nowadays, but that
Yeah.
seems like a lot of money back then.
And I don't know what, it doesn't say, okay, spoiler alert, I got every single bit of my information from about 4 newspaper articles. So there's not a bunch of information.
That's
Like,
why
that's
you were
all I
looking for
could find.
newspapers.com.
Yeah.
Still, that seems like a lot of money.
I don't know
for
how much,
property.
or I don't know what kind of farm he had. I don't know if it was like a tree farm, and so he was letting them cut down the trees, or if it was a crop farm and he was letting them
It was,
buy
like,
and
really
sell the
pretty.
plant or the
Here,
crops.
come and take your wedding
Yeah.
photos on my property.
No idea. I doubt that.
It probably wasn't a
1925?
vineyard. I'm just going to go on record and
Damn
say it
it.
probably wasn't a vineyard.
Where are you from,
But-
Lindsay?
I'm originally from Northwest Iowa.
Okay, so do you
and
know anything
I
about?
currently live in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Do you know anything about land in the Kansas, Oklahoma area? Like, what kind of farm might it be?
I
They
would
do most
imagine,
stuff down there.
Can we,
I would
can we phone
imagine
a
if it
friend?
was crops, that it was likely corn or soybeans
yeah.
or
that makes sense.
trying to think of any other crops. Barley, wheat, things of that nature. So, and they would rotate it you have to
Right.
rotate it every season. So you don't kill the earth. But the nitrates.
What kind of them?
So yeah, I'm assuming it would be some sort of crop.
Yeah. All right. A lot of money for crops, but okay.
Mhm.
So this next part here is a little fuzzy because it's been a really long time. And again, newspapers. But either while he was down selling his land or when he got back, Nellie Moore bought a car. We know she bought a car because it was in the newspaper along Ottawa
I was gonna
Road.
say,
Yeah.
was it in the
Car
paper?
Buyers Hall of Fame.
What is assumed to have happened is that with the money she was making from charging for the seance sessions with John and probably others, she was able to afford to buy this car. But it's also possible that John also just gave her the money for the car, like, here, buy a car. I'm not sure. The publishing in the newspaper had her address on it, of course, but it didn't have the old one. It had a new one. So it might have been after John came back. And I say that because when John left to collect the money for his property, Nellie was living in a very small house at 238 North Green Street. And then when he got back with his money, his dead son told him in a seance that Nellie needed a bigger house in order to continue their seances and allow John
course.
to explore his own spiritualism deeper.
Makes
And so he
perfect
bought her a
sense.
house. He bought her a house at 710 North Lawrence Avenue and furnished her for it with $1,700 worth of stuff, or about $30,000 today.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
And
I feel
John,
bad for John because
Yeah.
he's being taken advantage of here.
He
So
is.
But also,
This is
like,
like elder abuse.
yes,
Right,
he's
it's
70 something.
right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
No,
Do we
use
know
our
how
critical
old Nellie
thinking.
is?
Just that she was a young woman. She has
Okay.
children, so I would assume, honestly, I don't know. In the 1920s, you can have children very young and it's normal. So I would assume probably late 20s, but they just said young woman. He got her the house, he got her the stuff, and then he moved into the house and paid her rent. Like paid to her rent for himself, room and board, $10 a week, which is about $174 today. So $174 a week is what he paid her to live there.
When he bought her the house.
He bought the house.
That's
God damn
so
it.
confusing. Like,
yeah.
At what
Poor
point is she
John.
like, you can live here for free. You only bought me this fucking house.
Right.
Come on. Come on, lady.
It's almost like she was a fucking cult leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
just
he's
a rude
like,
lady.
I need it because of spiritualism.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
need it because God said so. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, at least use the money to like pay for groceries or something. You know what I mean?
Like feed the poor man with his own money groceries.
Let's get into it because there's more.
Oh,
of course there is.
I don't like this.
So this is the address that is listed as her address, this new fancy house in the Along Auto Rose space in the newspaper. So I imagine she bought the car after she moved into the house. But the reason why I'm not exactly sure is because Nellie did promise to repay John for the furnishings by way of a chattel mortgage. And in this mortgage, it's basically a loan. In this, she put up her furnishings that he just bought and her car as collateral.
Okay.
Although the amount that she promised was only $1,244, which is less than the furnishings, definitely less than the house that he gifted her, and wouldn't cover the cost of the car. So, like, I don't get it. But
like, is she at least being his medium for free? Like, at this point, like, I gotta know.
I think so, because we'll get into it later. He's kind of learning how to help her. So he becomes like her assistant.
Her assistant manager to the spirit world.
Damn it. You took your job, Lindsay.
Damn it.
So soon after Nellie was living in this bigger home, the seances became a little matchmakery.
Oh,
Nellie
okay.
was talking to a young woman from the spirit world named Sarah, who was interested in John. And not only was she interested in him, but the spirit world was telling Nellie that John was destined to marry Sarah.
Oh.
Through Nellie, John and Sarah began communicating in a flirtatious manner, and he began to fall in love with the spirit. He was then in agreement with the marriage. But there was a problem, Sarah, through Nellie, told John. They would need some new things for the wedding ceremony.
Of course they would. Of course they would.
John, the problem solver, made a list of things that they would need so he could go out and purchase them. The first thing on the list was a ring, of course. And luckily, Nellie had one.
A ghost can definitely wear a ring. Okay.
Nellie had one that she was willing to sell John.
Oh, so convenient.
Right?
Did he get the friends and family discount?
She was only, she was only going to charge him $175 for the ring, which is nearly $3,000 today.
Jesus, mother.
But this was actually a really good deal, according to the jeweler spirit that Nellie summoned to appraise the ring for John.
Oh, yes.
Amazing, and I love
this man.
It was in a real newspaper.
This man has never spoken to another live human since he met this girl. I swear.
No,
like, God.
Because at some point, wouldn't you say these things out loud to another live person and think that's weird? Well, that doesn't sound as reasonable as it did earlier. Come on, bro.
In the dark.
So the German accented spirit through Nellie told John that the ring was actually worth about $250, which would be $4,300 today. So he's getting a deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'm actually really upset,
German
Sarah,
jewelers,
that you're not reenacting this in different accents. I feel like that would make it that much better.
Das ist a good deal.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Brilliant. Like, what, sir?
Oh.
Oh.
More things that would be needed for a wedding, according to Sarah through Nellie, were sleeping porch furniture.
What the fuck is
I don't
What's a
that?
sleeping
Why?
porch?
It's like a screened-in porch
Oh,
for
like a
in the
sunroom.
summertime.
Okay.
Yeah, in the summer, they didn't have like
Okay.
air conditioning, so they would sleep in a room
Sure,
where the
sure,
wind could blow
sure.
through.
Yes.
But
Sure,
like, why
sure.
the fuck do you need that for a wedding? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely that. But I didn't even question that part. I was
yeah.
like, immediately, what is this room?
Is it like, oh Jesus, sorry. Is it for like sleepy time sex? Or like
I don't think so because
Ooh.
John has his own bed room, you know?
Oh,
But
yeah.
if
So we'll
if
kind
it's
of get
more
there.
needed to
like,
consummate the ghost marriage. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
I don't think so.
Okay.
you need a decent breeze for the consummation of your spiritual
I mean, maybe
sexual
for a
encounters.
73 or so year old man, maybe.
I feel like it would make it more legitimate. Like, feel that cold breeze? It's me, baby. No,
Mhm.
it's just the open
It's just
door.
the wind.
Yeah.
That's me caressing your wrinkly leg. It's me.
Oh, poor John.
They also needed 2 small rugs for the ceremony room.
Absolutely.
Of course. An electric heater. Whatever.
Why not?
New bedroom linens.
For the sunroom
dishes.
sex. Okay. Now
Probably.
now it's making us sorry. I'm a terrible person to record with.
Sunroom
Dishes,
sex.
hardware, 2 electric lamps, 3 scarves, and table linens. He bought and paid for all of these things, which totaled to $521, or about $8,600 today.
Twisted and Uncorked will be right back. If you prefer not to listen to ad breaks, head on over to patreon.com/twisted and uncorked for more information on receiving ad-free episodes.
Nellie did write
so many linens.
Yeah, it is.
It's
it
a
really
large
is so
number
many
of
linens. Yeah.
Scarves. Like, I just like, what makes sense?
Scarves, yeah.
3? Why?
I just picture, because she's
For
a
the
ghost.
Yeah.
I just picture them like wearing the sheets.
Oh, that's why there's so many linens.
Yeah.
Because then you can see the outline of her.
You need to know where I am at all times. Fair. Fair enough.
It's me. Hi, I'm under the sheets.
Exactly.
And definitely the problem with your bank account. It's me.
Yes. Yes.
It's me.
Nellie did write another promissory note, loan thing, whatever they want to call it this time, to John. Again, though, you know, she's like, I'm going to pay you back for these things, for these wedding things, because I'm probably going to use them after the wedding. I'll pay you back. No big deal. In the next couple of weeks, John continued to have seances with both his son's guiding spirit and the spirit of his beloved fiancée. In these seances, well, probably not at once.
Could
but
you imagine like a back and forth conversation?
Yeah. He was told through his guides, or I don't know which one, that he needed to hire a maid for the home that he lived in because Nellie's housework was too much on top of all the spiritual work she was doing. Like, this was an important time for John to be talking to Nellie through seances. She can't like handle housework right now.
Mm-hmm.
This costed him $5 a week, or $85 today. He was also told by spirits to deed the land, his land down in Kansas, Oklahoma, to Nellie.
No.
Oh, no.
But John was hesitant, and he's like, no, I think I need to talk to an attorney first. Luckily,
thank God.
Nellie was instantly greeted, on the spirit side, of course, by Sam B. Amadin, who was the leading Kansas City attorney who had just recently passed away.
Convenient.
Sam,
do you think she just like would go through obituaries?
Yes,
and just
for
to come
sure.
up with these names?
Positively.
Like,
oh,
where
yeah,
would
that
these
was
names
totally
come
the
from?
banker too. The banker was totally
right.
Yeah.
Sure.
1000%.
Sam, the attorney, through Nellie, explained why it was a great idea to deed the property to Nellie, and so John did. However, a little while later, Nellie agreed to give the land back to John as payment for those 2 loans for the money she borrowed. So now
Oh my God.
he has his land, but Nellie owes him nothing. He's paid back.
The worst
Totally
elementary
square.
school playground trade ever. Like, I feel so bad for this man. You know how somebody comes up to you and you're like, look at my Pokemon card, look how shiny it is, but you have a Charizard, it's not shiny, I want that one. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Or
I know.
I'll trade you your $1 for these 5 pennies. Don't you want 5 money?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I do want 5 money.
They're so
actually.
shiny.
Yeah.
Fucking John.
They're
so
like
as-
Pogs. Do you remember Pogs?
Oh God, yes. Yes.
Trading those.
You know what? That was my initial, like, I got really scammed out of a slammer as a kid, and I was really upset
Aw.
about it. But I didn't know if either of you would know
Same.
what that was, so I
Same.
panicked.
I still, fun fact, I still have my slammers somewhere.
What? That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I still have a small bag of Pogs and 1 slammer somewhere in this house.
I'll take pictures
it.
of them and send them
Yes,
to you
please.
later because I still do have some
I feel
slammers.
like Amazon sells like caskets. I feel like you should be able to get Pogs on Amazon. Like, come on.
They'd
Yep.
be like $1,000. Unless they started
They're
making
like-
new ones, in which case they'd be like a penny.
They're like
They
the
wouldn't
new
be
Beanie
nearly
Babies.
as cool.
Exactly.
I had like a Sebastian from the Little Mermaid Pog, and I was
Yeah.
obsessed with it because he had funny facial expressions on that one. You can't get that anymore. Googling it. Continue, Sierra.
I'm continuing. As I alluded to in the beginning, John was clearly being taken advantage of by Nellie. No one will ever
Yes.
know if Nellie was actually a true medium and could speak to the dead, but I think it is safe to say that she wasn't talking to these specific dead people about these specific things that seemed to
Mhm.
only benefit her. But
Yeah.
John did live with Nellie for about a year, and for that year, things seemed pretty normal and even exciting for the old man. Nellie was still hosting seances open to the public and doing spiritualism classes for people. Of course, these seances and classes costed money, and John was like her own personal assistant through it all. He would
I was
answer
gonna
the
say.
door, greet the guests, collect the money, and turn it all over to Nellie at the end of the night. It wasn't until the wedding that John started to suspect that Nellie had been lying to him.
That's so sad.
I feel really bad for John, but I really quick need to share my findings. So they
Share.
have something called caps now with a K
Oh.
that are similar to Pogs, but not nearly as cool.
Yeah.
Like, no
Mm.
Disney characters, no fun to be seen, and they come in little like Pez dispenser tubes. Then next on the Amazon shopping list is something called Pog Juice.
I don't
Not-
like it.
Not sure what that is. Didn't want to elaborate further.
No.
And then a game called Gooey Louie, where you pick boogers out of a rubber head. And
How
this-
did you come to this
I don't
when
know.
searching for Pogs?
I wrote Pogs for sale, and this is what Amazon came up with.
Good to know.
You can't write this shit.
Yeah,
Gooey
it's
Louie,
like-
though, guys. Future sponsor, because
It's like
No thanks.
I'm joking.
official Pog juice.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't
Oh,
like
Pog stands for passion. It's like passion fruit, orange, and guava.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine
Oh.
It's the
now.
ingredients. All right.
Okay.
but that's not what our Pog stands for.
No.
No.
But how funny
No.
would that be if it did?
So
But
But
random.
otherwise, no
from citrus.
Pogs.
They're
If you guys played
biodegradable.
with them as a kid, please send us photos if you still have them too. Be like Lindsay. Send us photos.
Hmm.
Yes. Okay, so wedding time.
No.
Sarah, through Nellie, told John that she would be able to fully materialize for the wedding ceremony. And John is like, fucking finally, because I'm lonely.
Oh.
Well, she did not.
I'm no longer
she did not
suspicious of
materialize.
John. I would like to clarify.
Hmm.
She did not materialize fully, but her hand did materialize. And Nellie told
Ooh.
John that he would be able to place the ring on her finger without the two of them immediately dying. He just could not touch any
Forgot
other
about that
part
rule.
of her. The finger only.
Convenient.
Yes.
Convenient.
You can only touch the finger. If you touch anything else, you might die. But you can touch her finger.
How can you see it in the dark?
Risky little game. Oh yeah, is the ceremony in the dark?
It is in the dark, but I mean, I don't know. You know, it's not so dark that you can't see something right in front of your face, I suppose.
Or maybe
After
she
the
just
ceremony,
like pokes him in the eye and he's like, oh, there it is. Okay.
yes, that could be it for sure.
That tracks.
Just
Totally.
making sure we don't both spontaneously die here.
Right.
Yeah. Marco.
After the ceremony at dinner, John was left to sit alone next to an empty chair with food in front of him that was never touched by his ghost bride.
That image is so
And
sad.
it made him feel lonely
Oh.
again. He didn't want to feel lonely on his wedding day, especially after all the money he had spent on it, including another $100 or $1,700 today on the food for all of the guests at that wedding.
God.
Well, I feel like
They
paying for his
invited
ghost
people to
bride
this?
was
Oh, there was people living and dead, and he had to pay for food for both.
that seems like I feel like we should have gotten a 50% off situation here. Like they're
Right?
not eating. Come
They're
on.
not eating, but I bet you Nellie ate good on leftovers for days.
Ugh, yeah, of course. She needed to have it for her
Mm-hmm.
spiritual. She's gonna be drained, you know.
Yep. In the next few weeks, John talked to his now wife Sarah in seances often through Nellie, and her requests seemed to become even more significant. He was asked to go back to his land, which he did own, right? And raise more money from it. It needed to be $6,000, his wife said, so that he could buy Nellie another new car and pay for her 2 children to go to private school.
Why does she need
Oh
2
my
cars?
God.
I have 1 car between
Yeah,
me and
I don't-
Kevin. Why do
don't
do
know.
we need 2 cars?
Maybe someone stole the first one because they posted her address in the newspaper.
True story.
knows?
We did hypothesize that earlier.
Or maybe a ghost wrecked the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the wedding, he's like, I
Sarah-
really need to
Sarah
get
wrecked
home.
it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a bummer.
Sarah's like, I really want to go for a drive. I didn't have cars when I was alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
She also told John that he was destined to be a great piano player, and so he must buy a piano, which he did. It costed him $500 or $8,700 today.
Oh my god.
And he was told that if he would just sit at the piano and listen, the spirit world would guide him and teach him how to play it. That never worked. He did not know how to play a piano. He had rough fingers from doing all the farming, and it just didn't work
Old.
out.
Like,
Yeah.
oh.
But now
Can you
Nellie
imagine,
had a piano in her home,
arthritis?
right? And trying to learn the piano at fucking 73 years old. Jeez.
Poor guy.
Since the piano playing didn't work out, Sarah also told him that he needed to purchase a record player for the home because it would make him happy to hear music. So he
Sure it
bought
would.
Nellie's home a record player or a
That's the only one
phonographer.
that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, except it's not his house.
True, right? He has to go back to his own house. I forgot about that.
Hmm.
One night, feeling lonely, John asked his wife in a seance to come to bed with him. And I don't think it was like in a come to bed with me kind of
Come
way.
hither kind of way.
But he was like, I get lonely. How come you're never around at night?
Yeah.
At about
Where are
2
you?
a.m., while he was sleeping, he awoke to someone in his room, his wife, presumably. The only thing he could see was an arm that looked rather lifelike, not much like an apparition. But his main issue with this meeting was that the arm did not disappear the way a spirit might. Instead, it came in, he saw it, and then it moved backwards away from him, out the bedroom door, and around the corner. After
I
seeing
have a
this,
case of the sillies, but you're like, the only issue I have with this phantom arm being in my bed. Like, I have every issue with this. God
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I just picture like someone in the sheet and they
Yes.
just have their arm out
Yeah,
of the
it's
sheet.
fucking Nellie. It is Nellie
And it's
walking
just,
through his
like,
room. She
backwards.
realized he woke up and she was like, oh, fuck, I gotta get out of here before he realizes it's me. That's exactly what happened.
Oh my god.
She's like awkward
Allegedly.
Nick Miller, like
Yes.
moonwalking out of the room.
That was the first thing
Exactly.
that I pictured when you said Nick Miller. Just,
Oh gosh.
you've seen New Girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We love a Nick Miller.
So after John saw this arm back out of his
Moonwalk
bedroom
out of his
and
bedroom,
turn a corner,
Nick Miller out of his room.
and then he, went to his bank and realized he's completely fucking broke now. He put 2 and 2 together and came to a realization that Nellie was taking advantage of him. Almost
sad.
immediately, he found a real living lawyer and filed a suit against Nellie. So
Good.
it is officially an actual crime.
Thank
The
God.
headlines in the newspaper read, quote, "Married a spook, now sues the medium matchmaker." End quote. That's what the newspaper article said.
I love
John
it.
Seybold was suing Nellie Moore for $7,500, or about $133,000 today.
Get it.
Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole trial for this case with witnesses and subpoenas of others who had used Nellie as a medium. But unfortunately for John, the courts decided that all of the paperwork and dealings of loaning money, deeding land, returning land as form of payment, it was all done on legal binding paperwork. And every other bit of the money that was spent was on gifts. He gifted those things to her. He bought the house and put it in her name, not his name. Even if they were under false pretenses, it was legal. John was not able to recuperate his $7,500.
Poor man.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should have been on that jury.
Yeah.
Hopefully there weren't any ghost witnesses on that jury.
Yeah, right? That
Like-
seems like super unfair. Of course
Nellie's
they're
in
going to
there
win
and she's
Nellie's
like,
favor.
here's Sarah.
Yeah.
She's
I'm
his
not
wife.
sure. Again, I found all of this information in newspapers. I'm not sure what came of John after this decision was handed down. His name was never mentioned in the newspapers in Wichita
Poor guy.
again. He was 73 years old in 1927 when the newspapers stopped writing about him and his case. All I do know is that he said he still very much believed in spiritualism and mediums. He just did not believe in Nellie Moore. He believed that she was a liar and a fraud, but that didn't mean that all mediums were the same as her.
Oh, that's a nice thing
really
to say.
sweet.
Yeah.
That is sweet. That is sweet.
But hopefully he didn't get taken advantage of again.
But like, is he still in love with Sarah? Like, I don't know. I feel bad.
He wanted,
Poor man.
so he was thinking that if he divorced Sarah, then all of the money he spent should have been given back to him.
Mm.
And the courts were like, we can't divorce you from a ghost. I'm sorry. Also, all of this paperwork is legal. So I don't believe he was still in love with Sarah. I think he thought that he accidentally married Nellie because he didn't believe that Nellie was telling the truth.
Right.
So I think that was his problem. He was like, I want to divorce this crazy lady. But he wasn't legally married to anybody.
Yeah, right? Like, who did the hand belong to that just
probably her
slithered in and appeared out of
But
nowhere?
there was no signage of paperwork.
Well, that's good. Hopefully there wasn't a ghost priest there, so that would have been even more awkward.
Yeah, right? How do you get in contact with him without
Nellie?
a medium? Yeah. Oh, man. That was so good.
That is my story.
Sorry you had to deal with the peanut gallery over here, but it was just
no,
too good
that
to let
made it
go of.
better.
Like, come on. Oh, I feel like that's
Poor
elder
guy.
abuse. That's
I know.
elder abuse to the
1000%.
greatest extent. Like, this poor man.
Poor man.
I hope he met a nice lady and they went for
He was
walks
73
together.
in 1927.
You never know. Those
I
local
just hope
ads are
it was peaceful.
bustling. Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah. Poor guy.
fuck that lady. I hope she had like the worst karma after that.
Yeah, I hope both of her cars were stolen.
Yeah.
Or that, like, she got hit by both of her cars somehow.
Oh,
you
the
took it
ghosts.
dark.
The ghosts
yeah, the
got in the
ghosts were
cars
mad.
and like,
They're like, stop speaking for me, lady. We're not with you.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
The ghost
weird
of his son and
things
the
have
ghost of
happened.
his jilted wife.
Yeah, we're like,
It's like,
bitch, that's not what we
smash her.
said.
Right? Oh, the
You
plot
took advantage of my
thickens.
dad.
Dr. Greer is not the manager here. I am.
Let us know what you guys think happened to John. Write his story. Write the end of his story. Let us know. Let him
Yeah.
be happy.
I don't like when there is no ending, as we know
Yeah.
from book club.
So,
yeah.
write
Yeah.
us an ending.
please. Sierra's
Something
going to yell about
nice.
it next week otherwise, guys. Please do it for me.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. Before we roll on out of here, Lindsay, do you want to tell the people something that you are thankful for or something happy in your life? This is how we
Sure.
like to bookend our episodes. Surprise.
I got to go bowling with some old coworkers last week. Context, I was let go from my job back in September, and these are coworkers from that job that I'm still good friends with. And so we all
Yeah.
kind of got together and went
Aw.
bowling, and it was a lot of fun. And I got to hear all the tea of what's going on still at the
Oh.
company. So,
Was it piping hot?
That's good times.
oh God, it was so good. The tea was
Mm.
so good.
Oh, that's fun. I love
Yeah.
little reunion things like that.
Yeah, it was good.
What about you, Sierra?
I am grateful that I will most definitely be starting school in January. So
Yay!
I'm ready to get this going.
That's
Yeah.
so
Nice.
exciting. That's so exciting. I don't know how to top either of those things. I'm really excited that Kevin is going to let me get a bigger fish tank for my sharks. They're not actually
Yay.
sharks. They're cichlids, guys. But they are now too big for their tank. And I feel bad. And I'm like, they need a bigger one. And they live like 8 years. So come on, let me get a bigger one. So he said I'm
Yeah.
allowed to get a bigger one.
Yay.
That will be
Yay.
my Christmassy kind of gift to myself, I guess.
Nice.
Even though I said I was never going to do it. Somebody is going to come back and be like, Alicia, you said you weren't going to do it. You're mad you had 5 of them.
Well,
We're here now. But thank you so much, Lindsay, for coming on. Tell the people what you have going on your show and where they can find you.
Sure. So once again, I'm the host of Ye Olde Crime, and you can find information about us on our website at yeoldecrimepodcast.com, and that's old with an E. We will have a lot of disaster-themed episodes in December, disastrous
no.
December, to kind of close out 2023.
I love
And we have a lot of fun cramp word episodes coming up in December as well, one of which is with Alicia.
Yeah.
So
You guys can see me get my one right. Spoiler alert.
yes. And yeah, you can pretty much find us wherever you listen to Twisted and Uncorked, and we come out with new episodes every Wednesday.
Woo! Love a
Awesome.
Wednesday. Love their show, and you guys will too. So go and check that out. And we will see you next week for our, I don't know why I
Special
pluralized
topic?
that. Yes, our special topic episode voted on by you guys. So in the meantime,
Keep it twisted.
Twisted and Uncorked is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alicia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode.